Hello YouTube, welcome back. Actually, welcome for the first time. This is my first video. I wanted to have a spicy one for the first one. I'm as excited as anybody else for the next MLB The Show, and I've been following along, trying to keep up with as many of the rumors as I possibly can. And there's one thing that has bugged me about the show, and is now even more out in the open now that I've played another Ultimate Team in 2K19. So you're probably thinking, oh God, where's this random guy gonna go with these comments? All right, and here's the thing I want to say: the show this year did an amazing job. Like if we just go to the min and max overalls for 99s, all right, there's 5 pages of 99s. All right, that's amazing. That gives you a lot of there's a lot of people that you wouldn't really consider like to be top cards, like people that I personally didn't see a lot of people using, like this Orlando Cepeda, um, you know, Alec Mills, obviously, the Gavin Lux, things, and like the team affinity cards obviously boost this up. But here's what bothers me. All right, this is something that I think SDS should think about when they're planning out content over the year. All right, let's go to somebody that was a big name at the beginning of the year. One of the few people that were in like the main advertisements. Okay, we'll go with Mickey Mantle. Now, without thinking about it too much, off the top of your head, how many Mickey Mantles do you think were in the game? If you said two, you would be correct. There is one Mickey Mantle in the market. One Mickey Mantle, and he's at 86 overall. That I haven't seen anybody play him since at least April, maybe even before that. It was a first week card, and it was good for it being a first week card. It was fairly good. I mean, it could hit righties like that. That's basically all you used him for with with 66 vision. I mean, and 94 speed. He was pretty good for the time that he was out there. But this is where we get into a problem. Okay? If, for example, I pull up the 2K database, okay? I already have it pulled up here. But LeBron James. Okay, this is in 2K21, which obviously is this season's 2K. Okay? He already has this many cards. He has 9 cards. I mean, I could be miscounting there, but he has 9 cards. Okay? And if you started playing at like even in a somewhat decent time, you could already have at least. I started playing after Christmas, so probably like a day or two before the new year started, and I have 4 of these LeBrons already. I have 4 different LeBrons. Now, do I use them? No, unless I'm playing like offline maybe, or there's a challenge for them, I'll use them. I don't use them necessarily, but I have the option to, and I can see what a LeBron feels like in my offense. Even though like there's gonna be a huge difference between, let's say like we'll just even look at the 3-point shot. All right, this 89 LeBron has a 71 3-point shot, but then you come back, you look at his 97, he's got a 93 shot. All right, and like I know I know that it's like there's been a stigma, or there's been a discussion that has gone on in the show community, from at least from what I've seen, where people seem to not like the idea of repeat cards, but I love the idea. And the best way to make this possible is to completely get rid of the signature series cards. I know I'm gonna rile some people up by saying that. Like, I understand the signature series cards are uh, some of the best cards. Like, you have the Larry Walker, the Rivera. I mean, like you got Chipper, but then you got like Billy Wagner, Greg Maddux. Like, you got all these guys that are the best cards in the game. Ted Williams. You have the best cards in the game, and all of them get pushed into this group, and it kills the possibility for some of these cards. The same thing happens with this with um the awards cards, right? Like, there's no reason. If we'll just X out of here really quick. I have a point I'm trying to make here. There is no reason that David Ortiz, who was another main selling point, one of the big names that they came out with, and they're like, look who we got for the show 20, right? There's no reason he should have two cards in the game. I understand you don't want to give out end game cards at the beginning of the year, but there are other ways to do this other than giving an 86 overall literally the day the game launches and then waiting to drop this David Ortiz for later in the year. Now, granted, they did drop the David Ortiz at a fairly decent time. I did not feel like I had to go wait a long time for him. Like, there are other cards that you had to wait a lot longer for, like the return of the 2019 Finest cards and like the 99 for like face of the franchises, stuff like that, like the historic face of the franchises. But there's no reason you should not have a big poppy, or that you should have a big poppy that is coming out this late. The same thing could be said. The same thing could be said if you look up Rivera. Okay, he once again only has two cards. I don't see the point in this because now, however, with the last, with the final program and stuff, Mariano's price has gone down a lot. And if you just played the game, you basically got a 99 Mariano for free, or you got Larry Walker or Big Poppy. But my point is there should be more freedom with it. Like, in a Mariano, we'll actually look at Big Poppy here for a second. There should be more freedom between his cards are a little tougher because what are you gonna do? You're gonna give him like 2006. You're gonna give him a crap load of power, right? Like, that's basically all you can do. But if you come up here and look at somebody like Barry Bonds, okay? This is where things could get interesting, and things could actually be fun, and having multiple different cards would actually be awesome in comparison to facing what if you gave a signature for like if you gave a signature from the late 90s to the early 2000s. The problem is 96 he had 40 stolen bases and he got caught 7 times. Now you might be like, well, in 2001 he only had 13 type deals, right? But like, look at this, 96 to 2001. This man had a 300 batting average. He got intentionally walked 160 times, like 144 stolen bases. That's crazy. All right, like, that card would legitimately break the game to the point where, like, why would you run anybody over him unless they absolutely murdered his swing, which I highly doubt considering he already has like a generic swing in the game. Okay? There's no reason that a Barry Bonds should I will walk that statement 100%. Barry Bonds deserves a 99 that is stupid ridiculous because, well, let's face it, the dude's career was stupid ridiculous. I mean, the dude won 4 MVPs in a row. What are you gonna do to that? You know what I mean? Like, you got to give him something crazy. while earning gold gloves and silver sluggers. Like, he deserves a crazy card. Yes. But could you imagine a could you imagine a 2004 Barry Bonds? Or like specifically a 2001 Barry Bonds where he has maxed out power. He's got 110 plus contact, right? And his fielding is not that great because like there has to be some feedback, like there has to be some like negative to it. And you know what the crazy part is? With a card like that, he would still be a 99. That's the that's the thing. You look at cards like Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, like even Lou Gehrig to an extent. Those guys are all big power hitters with silver or lower fielding, and people still use them every day, especially if they fix the outfielding fielding like they say they're going to. If you allow a silver to even be like somewhat usable in the outfield, he will be played non-stop. Like it will be a Barry Bonds show, and that's it. The second argument is, could you imagine a 92 or 93 Barry Bonds? A 92 Barry Bonds is perfect. This man hit 34 homers, had 39 stolen bases, walked 130 times, had a 311 batting average. You know, like it's just crazy to me. 36 doubles, 5 triples. Like he would be a card while earning a gold glove too. The gold glove is crazy. He could be it would be a 99 with high 90s power, like 100 plus contact. It would almost be the same it basically be the same contact as his 2001, maybe a little bit lower. Obviously lower power, so like the 90s, maybe like 100, like the 100 to 110 range. And then with high vision cuz he got on base with a 450 on base percentage, which is ridiculous. And and then he would have diamond fielding. It's just like I don't know as a community why you wouldn't want the option to at least choose between if you want to have a power hitting with like just a absolute unit at the plate with bad fielding, or if you want someone who's reliable and gets the job done, can still hit homers, can still get on base, but is also going to give you Larry Walker defense. You know, I don't understand why you wouldn't want that as a player, like as anyone that is within the community. And with the options of the three different cards I gave, where I do keep a signature for the simple fact that I don't think San Diego Studios is going to get rid of it, you could still include a MVP 2001 card while also giving him a, like, I don't know, you could do something like an all-star from 93 or 92, right? Like you could do an all-star from 92, an MVP from 2001, and then do a signature from 2001 all the way back to 95. Like his card would be ridiculous. I agree. But the that's where delaying some of the content comes into play, right? Because if you have those three different cards, you're not going to drop the signature, which would have speed, would have power, would have fielding, and could had contact, right? Like he'd be the ultimate perfect card. Like it would be disgusting. You're obviously not going to drop that. You're not going to drop it pre All-Star break. You're probably going to drop it closer to the playoffs, if even that. Like that's probably a playoff drop is like a playoff content drop is a Barry Bonds, like a signature series Barry Bonds. But then that's where having that 92 All-Star Barry Bonds comes in, because you could drop him at the All-Star break. You could drop the MVP one in August, late August, early September, You know that there's like the dull period right before, like right as school's starting for people, and it's kind of starting to wean off because you're getting like Madden back, you're getting 2K back, like you want to keep people as invested into this game as long as possible, and the way to do that is to not murder these big names by only giving them two cards. There should never be a situation where Mariano only has two cards. I agree. If we want to keep signatures, let's keep them. But we have to play them. They have to drop them as end game content. I think there should not be a world where we're getting 99 overall signatures pre All-Star break. Because at that point, you're basically like, when you get a 99 signature, you're essentially just locking in a guy. Like we'll use Rivera for an example. You're essentially locking in a guy into your bullpen that legitimately has no chance of leaving your bullpen unless you play an online game and it doesn't go your way. He gives up like 3 runs or whatever. You get angry, you pull him. Trust me, I've been there. We all do it. But there's no reason he should only get one card because they're like, well, we put him as a signature. And I'm focusing a little too much on the signatures here, but it's everything. There's no reason we should only have one decent Verlander, right? Like, yeah, look, you have the live series Verlander and then the Cy Young Verlander, which didn't even come out until like basically the game. It was in the dull period already. It was in the lame duck period between the two games. Like that's what I'm gonna call it. Basically, Christmas break to March to the next game is kind of like a dull period where nothing really gets done and people are just pumping out content for the new game. So it's like what do you what he should not be there should not be a Verlander this late. Like there should be a Tigers one. There could be an like an Astros like 2017 Verlander. I want to make one thing clear. All right, MLB The Show 20 dropped the best content, kept me engaged arguably for the longest, um, until some things like didn't get fixed, and it kind of bugged me for a long time. Although I've started to play again, and it feels like they're fixed a little bit. But if I want to buy I just have a problem when I want to get a card like a Frank Thomas. Like I mean, Frank isn't even a good example. Like Frank and Big Poppy are not good examples because they did one thing basically their entire career. But like, I shouldn't have to pick their 199 overall. Like, it, Ken Griffey Jr. is another one that bothers me. They did him a little better this year. But like two cards is not enough Griffies. Uh, I think not expanding more on him and his career is a mistake because they could make so many cards. It's the same thing with they talked a lot about throwbacks for you could do the same thing with current day players. You would have to do yeah, literally a 2011 Mike Trout like and he would be a gold or something. Cuz some people San Diego Studios doesn't sometimes seem to realize this. Some people get on the game and don't play it for hours. So when they keep making Trout this big collection, I understand you don't want to give the best card in the game to people to everyone, but like at least give people the option to use some of these cards. You can like you'll be able to test them out, see if you want to spend the stubs to get these cards because sometimes you get these cards for hundreds of thousands of stubs and it's just the biggest waste of stubs you've ever spent because you don't like the cards once you try them out. And I know the counter argument for that is, well, just go into BR. Yeah, at that point you're still dropping. You might go 15,000 stubs before you get the card you want. Like that's ridiculous. I think having the option to go through and create multiples of the same cards exactly. I don't want to say multiples of the same cards. Okay, multiple cards for the same person. And when I say multiple, I don't mean two, I don't mean three. There is no reason that 2K cannot make, or when I say multiple, okay, I do not mean two or three. I mean, like, four or five is good, and you can make them bad. Like, I remember playing with Bronze Babe Ruth to start the year. I think it was in 19. It might have been 20. It might have been the very beginning of 20. And I literally would sit there and just crank homers to right field on, like, rookie playing Conquest, right? And you know what? When the Babe Ruth came out, I was the first person. I wanted to get him so bad. I was trying to reorganize my stubs, trying to sell people, buy other people to fill in those spots to get this Babe Ruth. Someone like Lou Gehrig, I used his gold card, right? And his gold card would sit there and just rip home runs out to right field. And I was like Lou Gehrig, it was already someone I've written research papers about. Like, he's someone that I've looked up to as a baseball player, and like, he is arguably the definition of a baseball player. But if I didn't have that gold card, I don't know how I would have made the judgment to say, okay, I want to get Lou Gehrig. Like, there's so many cards that can just build up, and like you, and they're not going to be end game cards. I don't want to sit here and act like we need 14.99 overall max Scherzers, because we don't. Like, we really don't. And but like, I don't see what the problem with having multiple 90 plus cards for some of these people are. And you just release them slowly over time, and you can release them slowly over time. There's no problem in releasing multiple 90 pluses of a card, okay? Because one thing I personally despise, and that I think causes people to burn out of the games, is that sometimes people use cards too much. Like, if you get a card too early that's a 99, like, I'll just throw out for example, if you got, um, I know Mickey, I can't pull. Okay, I'll throw out for example the 99 Mickey Mantle. Okay, the 99 Mickey Mantle could be obtained technically on the first day. It definitely was not, but it technically could have. You should not have another one of the best outfielder cards in the game of it basically available day one. I, I would much rather have sm- smaller rewards for individual collections that could all be put into a big collection at the end. If you started coming out with specific award packs, like you would do like 2010s awards, all right, and you literally made an awards card for every person in 2010. I know it would be tough because you have like Trout, who ran the gauntlet, right? But uh, my point is you could take those award cards, package them together into like a pack, right? Kind of like 2K does this, and then make those go towards a collection reward. And that's another way of how you can get more cards for these people that don't necessarily have to be 99 overalls. There have been several Cy Young winners who, let's be honest, were not 99 overalls. Was Rick Porcello a 99 overall? I don't think so. I don't think he would deserve a 99 overall card. But at least you would get a high Rick Porcello. Where if someone really liked a live series Rick Porcello, which if you do, more props to you, but they have an option. And that's all I want for this game, right? I just want people to have options at every single position, at every single overall if they want. There should not be somebody, for example, I'll use this for example. Do you Could you tell me off the top of your head how many Josh Donaldson cards there are in the game? There's your answer. There's two of them. If you are not a BR god, which I'll be honest with you, I'm not that amazing, especially at BRs. I mean, I've made World Series a couple times. I mean, I've gotten to 10-0 a couple times, but some of that is luck. And I I see BR rewards come out, and I'm like, well, I'm just never gonna get that card. And there's for one simple reason: it's a million stubs sell now. And I know it's like the end of the game, so they're a little inflated because people aren't playing BR as much and stuff. But at like even at its peak, it was like 700K for the Josh Donaldson. If I want a juiced up Josh Donaldson, I shouldn't have to either be super good and extremely lucky, or extremely lucky, I should say, or put money into the game to get stubs to buy the card. Why couldn't there have been a 90 overall? I actually think there is an 85 Josh Donaldson now I'm thinking about it. I've completely blanked out this. I believe there's a breakout Josh Donaldson. Maybe that was in a different game, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But this is my point, okay? If I want a 9, like, why couldn't there be a 90 overall? Like, you mean to tell me Josh Donaldson has been literally nothing? Like, he's never played above his 82 overall since he won his MVP. I think there's ways that you can twist around your algorithm that they say they have. Start making people do it personally. Like, I would much rather have no algorithm and have people go in there and specifically say, hey, this guy's gonna have 115 power versus righties and 112 versus lefties. Because then that leaves room for these cards. Like, why can't I have an A's Josh Donaldson card? Why can't I have a Braves Josh Donaldson card? And I know I'm not asking for a card from every person for every team they've been on, because I think that's ridiculous. You're not gonna get 14 Nelson Cruzes, hopefully, because I know that has been like there have been multiples in the past of him, but especially him because his fielding sucks in every game. Okay, we'll use Trevor Bauer as an example. All right, this man, whether you like him or not, like, and he, if you think he deserves his contract or not, that's a whole nother discussion for a different video. But like, look at this, man. Like, you mean to tell me that you can't scrounge up a 2018 All-Star Trevor Bauer, right? Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to be like, I think we can make this work. And he would have an Indians card, and then you could literally make a Cy Young Award Trevor Bauer, put it as an end game card, and make him a Reds player. And then you'd have an Indians card, you would have a Reds card, and you'd have what would be a live series Dodgers card of Trevor Bauer. All in the same game that would all be released completely separate times. And if you like the live series Trevor Bauer, then maybe you could look at getting the Cleveland Trevor Bauer. And he wouldn't have stuff like his cutter because he said he developed that in the last year. So then that's when you'd get into like Cincinnati and you would get his entire pitching repertoire. I just think it it leaves more options, and you completely get rid of the point. You completely get rid of these packs at the beginning of the game that you get that are gold cards that are nothing but collection fodder. All right, they're not good. There's no point in getting them when you could get a live series card that is better 99% of the time. There are very few times where I've gotten a gold card from either like the XP reward path or from an actual program itself, and I've been like, you know what? Let me bump this guy from my lineup. He's going in now. Like literally even beginning of the game, I'm not doing that because by the time I get to the 150 program stars, I've already gotten far enough along in the game where I'm golded out or I'm getting close to being golded out, and it's like, well, do I need this gold second baseman who has 35 power with 50 contact? It's like, not really, when I could use somebody better. Like, when I could use a live series Robinson Cano, which is going to be 10 times better than any card that they put out, especially early on in the game like that. For my closing thought here, I just believe that San Diego Studios should look at something like this and realize that there's more content for people that are already in the league and people that are out of the league, and can keep people invested longer by spacing out multiples of the same person, having multiple Josh Donaldsons throughout the year, having multiple Albert Pujolses throughout the year, multiple usable Albert Pujolses throughout the year. Because whether you'd like to admit it or not, an 87 Albert Pujols is not in your lineup after the second program. All right, you're getting pretty nice after the second or third program to the point where you're already looking at like getting close to the 90s area. Especially if you know how to manage your subs, you're probably past that by the end of the second program. So I just think using these cards as showing kind of where you should be in your progression throughout the year to the point where we're not getting 99 juiced lineups, or at least 99 like maximum juice lineups, like having the Larry Walkers come out in the fourth inning or whatever inning they came out in. I just think that card, especially that card, bane of my existence. I think it could have came out a month later, 2 months later, and people would have been ecstatic that it came out when it did. I just think there's space for these cards, and instead of doing bi-weekly random pack drops, you have a purpose behind them. Like uh, getting a 91 Jeff Bagwell to start the year last year did me nothing. I sold him instantly for 15K, and I bought two diamond players for the price of one, and my team was much better for it. So I just think, having these good cards and not putting them all into packs, making them available to most people, even if they're bad to an extent. Like if they're somewhat usable, I think it can do nothing but be good for the it can do nothing but be good for the game. Uh, I don't know. So I'll see if San Diego Studios agrees with me and has already been planning this out, or if they're gonna go back to this system where we get one middle of the road diamond card for these guys, and then we get a 99. We'll see. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I know I didn't articulate it as well as I wanted to, but I hope I got my point across, and I hope to some extent that some of you at least agreed with me. So drop it down in the comments. Let me know if you agreed. And I'll see you guys all next time.